Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pizzapia, with me today for an awesome, amazing, spectacular mock draft episode. It's the Welsh, the Scott Bogman, and the Joe Rico, and we've got 6 of our favorite friends from our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat, the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks, live here on Twitch. You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/fantasypros. That's pretty easy to remember. We've got emojis now, I think, that are working on the channel too, so that's very exciting. Scott Bogman, I know you're a huge emoji fan. So when you heard that news today, how excited were you for the beginning of the program?
Couldn't be more excited. It's emojis and then opening day for baseball for me. So I was pumped about it for sure.
It's a good combination. It's a good combination. And speaking of opening day, Joe Rico, with opening day comes getting closer and closer to guys going to the IL. And it looks like as the pitchers are ramping up, they continue to step backwards.
I did a draft Tuesday night. I took Jared Jones as my SP4. So I need the season to start, and I need another draft here to kind of cleanse my palate after that, because I'm going to be dropping my SP4 on the first Fab run this Sunday. So I definitely need another draft to
Joe. I need to know, where have the big talk of the town here around Fantasy Pros was your Roki Sasaki rank. Absolutely shocked at the show that we did. So I got to hear, we did this on Discord. I told Pizza P about it. Where have you settled on Roki Sasaki?
27.
Still pretty high.
Let's move
Still
on with the
high,
program. Today, we're going to be doing our draft. It's in the mock draft lobby. And as you can see, the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks are with us. If you want to be cool, like the cool kids, and get in on some of these drafts, and you got to go over and join us on our Discord. Again, fantasypros.com/chat. It's free. It's fun. And when you're premium over at Fantasy Pros, you get access to even more channels and the AMAs and a lot more. And also, you should be running all the mock drafts you can. If you got mock drafts coming up this weekend or next week before the season starts, I got my home league the night before because I'm going as far as I can. I am pushing the limit until baseball actually starts, but use the mock draft simulator, use Draft Wizard, download right now wherever you get your apps, Draft Wizard. It's the best way to prepare for all of your drafts. That way it gives you real-time recommendations. It's also got the league sync feature too. The draft assistant will mock up directly to your real-life draft, give you insights, give you picks, give you recommendations, and also help you, especially in those roto leagues too, with the categories, being able to see where categories, as you're drafting, you're behind, you're ahead. It's incredibly helpful. You'll see it here live on action today. And of course, it's on our YouTube channel as well. So subscribe to the YouTube channel because we are closing in on 25,000. We want to get there before opening day. I think we can do it. And whenever we hit 25,000, you'll get Mario and Luigi, aka Joey and the Welsh, dressing up once again, cosplaying. So that's going to be fantastic. Look at this. Got premium yesterday. Positive Grouch, which is kind of a, oxymoron, but we love oxymorons around here. Let's talk about the draft today. It's a short draft.
Morons.
The same thing. They're just very clean. They use that OxyClean. They're incredibly clean morons. We've got 10 teams here joining us today. We've got Michael. We've got one player. We've got Shohei. We've got the Welsh. We've got Frankie. Chewbacca's back again. Bogman is here at 108. Venom is back again at 109. And Joe Rico in the 10 spot. Head-to-head categories is what we're doing. So we're going to start this bad boy up. And yes, I did take the 1 spot today because, well, frankly, I'm hosting as well. So it's a lot easier for me to just pick on the turn. And I just did one where I was at the bottom. So now we're going to go to the top. I've done them in the middle too. I think it was 5 last time, Welsh. Wasn't I last time we did this? So
It sounds right.
I don't want to hear anybody complaining that I'm in the 1. You want to complain? Take it somewhere else. I don't really care. All right. For this 1 pick, it is interesting because in the 10-team league, the supply and demand a little bit different in terms of what's available for you. You're going to have more pitchers available. Wise outfield, we are playing 4 outfielders. We're doing corner, infield. We're doing 2 util spots. No bench today either. I'm going to start things off with my boy Bobby Witt Jr. at the shortstop position, see how this one goes. So I'm not going to pass on Ohtani for somebody else. Let them do it and see if I can still win the draft. That's my challenge. Michael's up next. Our next guest here, Chris Welsh, is at 105. So Welsh, you've been loving this 105 spot. So tell me, what are you looking for? Are you looking for the Jose Ramirez fall, the Juan Soto fall? What do you need? Ellie?
Call me a guest, by the way. Thanks.
Welcome,
Hey, thanks
guest.
for having me on your show, Joe. I'm really happy. It's
Welcome to
a
Jokies and
meet
Pia
and
and
meet
Friends
here
everybody.
underneath our roof.
Jokies and Pia and Friends never lets you down.
an award-nominated show that you only solely put together. So thanks for having me just be a little tiny baby part of it. I picked 5 because it was the best pick that had some separation between you guys. Not that I'm necessarily in love with it, but I have talked about loving this area because in a perfect world, I'm going to get Ellie De La Cruz. This is not a perfect world, so I won't get Ellie De La Cruz, but I get a choice between Judge, Jose Ramirez, and Ellie. So in a 10-team, in any league format, this is an incredible spot. In a 10-team, that 5, I'm also going to wrap around into an incredible play. So 5 is like absolutely ideal here, and I'm going to get my dream. Dreams do come true, and it's only because you invited me on your show, Joe. So thank you so much. I will live take Ellie De La Cruz on your program.
I mean, it's nice to be treated as a guest. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it means I treat you better than I would normally treat you, I would think. So Bobby Witt goes 1, Shohei goes 2, Aaron Judge goes 3, Jose Ramirez at 4, Ellie De La Cruz to the Welsh at 5. So Bogman, you're at 8. So when you're drafted from the 8 spot in a 10-team league, again, calculus changes a little bit when they're in these shallower leagues. You really got to load up on that star power. Are you somebody that, because there might be a little bit more supply and demand of hitting, are willing to go pitching early, or are you willing to prefer maybe pitching later? Because
just say his name,
ratio.
Just say his name, who you're going to take. You're going to beat around the bush. Just say who you're taking.
I'm taking Corbin Carroll. Everybody knows that.
Thank you. But answer the question now.
But also, I'll take pitching at the end of the round, not even at 8. So end of the round, I'll do it. I won't do it here. I like a pitcher to fall back to me in this spot. They never do. So this part of the draft to me has been the most challenging. So since it's a mock, I just wanted to see what I put together. I drafted from 8 yesterday when Welsh and I did a mock for ITL, and I actually put together the best team that I feel like I put together yet. So it was positive yesterday. So we'll see if I like it as much today. Probably
you have a really good shot at a pitcher. We saw pocket aces go in a 12-team mock draft we did. I don't think Arico is going to be a crazy person like that, as he's not. So you are officially going to get one of those pitchers if you want it, Boggs.
If you want them. So Ellie goes to Welsh at 105, 106 Juan Soto, then Kyle Tucker at 107, Corbin Carroll at 108 to Bogman. Bogman, why Carroll over Gunnar Henderson? Just out of curiosity.
Because Gunnar Henderson has the oblique going into the season and Corbin Carroll doesn't. I mean, that's pretty simple math.
Okay. Fernando Tatis Jr. at the turn to Joe Arico, along with hometown hero Vlad Guerrero Jr. Joey, when you heard yesterday the GM talking about we're hopeful we get an extension done, did you buy that at all on the Vladdy news?
He's totally full of it. I don't believe a word he says. I hope he's right, but I'm not taking him at face value anymore. They do not deserve the benefit of the doubt. But I think Vladdy going into a contract year, I think he's going to have a massive season. Like, I have him predicted for American League MVP. I think he's going to just go for 40 bombs, hit 320, and just blow up and then get a massive contract, probably from Uncle Steve. Joe, you guys are probably going to get him, but I'll take him this year in the contract year when he's got all these people talking about him and he's doing interviews talking about maybe going to the Yankees. And I feel like this is a year for him to just blow up. And then Tatis is the other pick. He's been a little bit disappointing the last couple of years, but I feel like there's still a 30-30 bat there potentially.
Oh, I do too. I mean, yesterday he did strike out on 3 pitchers against Adrian Hauser. I watched that happen in real time. Mookie Betts goes at 202. Bogman, you took Paul Skenes instead of Skubal. So what made you do that? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, they're both kind of a coin flip here. I feel like Skenes just has more upside than any pitcher in baseball. So with all of them being so volatile, give me the guy with the most upside.
Okay, so after that upside of Skenes, Lindor goes next to Chewbacca. Frankie takes Julio. Welsh, you ended up taking Tariq Skubal. How do you feel about that?
I'm actually pretty solid about it. I don't do this often. I do tend to take a 3rd-round pitcher in Garrett Crochet a lot, but in the 10-team, the player pool it's a lot more accessible. Having elite players at certain positions to sacrifice getting high-end hitters is okay to me. So to be able to get like a theoretical number 1 overall pitcher at 2, there's just still a great player pool that's about to come back to me. So I'm pretty confident with it. I passed up some good players, but I think this build in a 10-team, we're all going to have good pitchers, But if you can have a separator of having eliteness in certain spots, I think it's a really solid advantage. So I'm happy about it. And I'm
Joe Rico, is eliteness a word?
Eliteness?
Yes.
Yeah. Is
I
it?
think it's a word. Yeah. I should
right.
know this. I went to journalism school. I should know.
I was good. That's why I asked you. I figured, well, I asked the journalism school guy if eliteness is a word. You should be right on that, yes or no.
Eliteness is what we're looking.
That's where you might be pushing it a little bit with.
I think that might be a little too much elite. Bryce Harper goes at 207 to Shohei. Then we have Alvarez going next at 208. Jackson Churro 209 at the turn. I was contemplating, the Freddie Freeman health. I feel like just really worried. Like the end of last year, the beginning of this year too. I'm sure he'll be fine. This was a points league. I'd take Freddie Freeman, but it's not. It's head-to-head roto category, so I want guys to do everything. And Zach Wheeler was very tempting. He did go right after I made my two selections, but instead I went with Jaron Durant and Jackson Merrill, two outfielders that give you power, give you speed, give you everything, give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. And I'm very happy with it. Yeah, there you go. So I love these first three picks. To me, this is a super annoying team to deal with in a shallow roto head-to-head format. Zach Wheeler goes at 302, Trey Turner at 303. Austin Riley was the other guy I was contemplating. He goes at 304. The Welsh, Ketel Marte, you homer. Nice pick here at 305.
I know. What a horrible pick. Ketel Marte with 35 homers and high batting average and runs and RBI. No, I think this is what we're talking about. Like there's great third round value. I've never gotten Ketel Marte before. So, I can kind of bounce around between hitting and pitching. Speaking of homer, just real quick, looking at the chat, Laker had asked about a lot of Corbin Carroll stuff. I don't know why Corbin Carroll got everybody all excited. Maybe it's because Bogman and I are there, but he said, how's Corbin's shoulder? From all intents and purposes, it looks like it is in a great spot. He's had a killer spring. That's the other thing with Gunnar. Like Gunnar has had this injury. He's amazing, but Corbin Carroll, it looks like he's back on his rookie level stuff. He's hitting the ball well and his shoulder looks great. So I think that's why it makes a lot of sense to take him at 8 and, no injury like Gunnar Henderson right now.
Frankie takes Jazz Chisholm at 306. Garrett Crochet off the board at 307. I was wondering if you're going to go Scooble Crochet and try to I'll be a little bit of a show off there.
I might have. Not now, but I definitely was thinking about it.
I knew it wasn't making it back to you. Freddie Freeman to Scott Bogman. So where I was afraid, Scott Bogman is courageous. So Freddie Freeman, look, first base in any depth of league isn't as deep as it used to be. Boggs, I know you're on the clock. I'll let you pick. Then we'll come back to your two. Trusted Venom at Jose Altuve at 309. Then Joe Rico at the turn. Logan Gilbert at 310. And 401 Manny Machado. So you got Vlad at first, Machado at third. You got your starting pitcher. You got your outfielder. Joe, this is a pretty good looking build so far.
Yeah, I like the base. I've got a little bit of speed, although that's probably something I need a little bit later on. But I've got a nice base of power and batting average, which I think is very hard to come across later in the draft. I also got an ace that I can rely on for probably close to 200 innings again. So very much liking the start, but I'm worried a little bit about the speed. But in a 10-team league, I don't really need to worry so much.
That's right. We do have two RP spots to fill as well in this one. So Michael Harris to Trusted Venom, who's automatically get an F for me. Rafael Devers to Scott Bogman. So Bogman, for a guy who's worries about injury, guys, Devers not exactly 100%. Also having some, maybe some unhappiness settling in there too. You maybe, pop a gummy into his breakfast to see if maybe he starts feeling better about this move to DH eventually.
Listen, if I'm sitting here in the 4th round and Devers is available to me, and by the way, he played 138 games last year, so it's not like he missed a big chunk of the season or anything. And, Freddie Freeman, I think he's going to be fine by the time real opening day rolls around. So let's go. I love these guys falling. This is a perfect draft for me so far. I am loving it. The only thing that I didn't like was when Welsh took Ketel Marte two picks or 3 picks or whatever in front of me, because that's who I wanted really with that Freddie spot. But I love these guys dropping. And if you were asking about Carroll before, Carroll's hitting 394 with 4 bombs this spring. So
is that good?
It looks fine.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, Matt Olson at 404, Pete Alonso 405. Welsh, you took Ronald Acuna at 406. You absolute hypocrite, you. All these shows we keep doing, you freaking hypocrite. How dare you take giving me crap on all these shows? Or has my good logic finally seeped into your dense brain finally that Ronald Acuna is a good pick here?
Your logic has not seeped in whatsoever, but we're in a 10 team. I'm on the clock though, so let me.
All right, so go ahead. You pick. I'll come back to you. Let you find an excuse for why you took Ronald Acuna, and you can give me crap about why I did.
I made my pick. I made my pick.
No. Now you have to wait. The guests have to wait. If you were really the host of the show, you can talk. Ozzy Albies at 407, Corey Seager at 408, Chris Sale at 409. I was gonna go Sale Reagans. Instead, I had to settle for Reagans and Blake Snell. I'll do that. The pitching run has begun, folks. After Snell, by the way, that's a pretty good duo right there. Got them big lefty strikeout guys. Oh, man. What a cool rotation, man. Blake Snell, man. Corbin Burns, the number 2 starter, apparently, on the Diamondbacks, despite all that money. Zach Gallen starting opening day. Dylan Cease goes at 503. This is the sweet spot. And I'm glad I grabbed the 2 because, obviously, there it goes. Albies at 407, great value, by the way, to Shohei, who then takes William Contreras at 504, and then Welsh, you took Wyatt Langford. So you doubled up on outfield, Ellie, Marte, Acuna, Langford, and Skubal as the ace. So let's talk about Acuna. Let's talk about Langford.
So, like, I've been kind of anti-Ronald Acuna in a lot of spots, but we're playing in a 10 team. And that was my whole thing with Tariq Skubal earlier is in a 10 team, we've got the ability to just rebalance out this roster more than any other thing. And that's also why, you've heard a lot of people say like, well, in a 10 team, this is this. In a 12 or 15, the values are different. Man, I can redo this. Like I just got Wyatt Langford as I have to put a little bit more focus on outfield taking Acuna, but like his talent that I'm going to be able to baseline it with 4 outfielders is a no-brainer in the 4th round here. So like as much as I've been turning against it, 10 team kind of opens things up. So Ronald Acuna with Ellie De La Cruz, Ketel Marte, Wyatt Langford. They might make this my show after this show. You might be kicking rocks and this will be my show.
Well, that brings us to this week's Chasing Challenges, brought to you by Microsoft. Just like the athletes who push boundaries and redefine what's possible, business decision makers today are turning challenges into opportunities, and Microsoft meets you where you are with tools and guidance to help you make an impact with safe, secure AI solutions. So whatever the challenge you're facing, Microsoft empowers you with the expertise to say, bring it on. And in this segment, we spotlight the challenge faced by drafting Ronald Acuna. That's right, because you are going to miss him for a few weeks of the season, possibly into mid-May, maybe late May. We don't know. What I do know is I did see Ronald Acuna fielding questions from reporters, and my goodness, he looked happy and lighthearted. He didn't seem like a guy who was in pain, didn't seem like a guy who had any issues. He said he was basically 99.5% already. That to me is a very positive sign. I think the body language is important. I think the demeanor is important when a guy's coming back for an injury. And the word he used when they asked him, how do you feel? He said, I feel strong. And guess what? I feel strong too, Ronald. I feel strong about drafting you in the 3rd round if you're still sitting there, because I will take 5 months of Ronald Acuna over pretty much everybody outside the top 20 players in Major League Baseball. So give me Ronald Acuna there. And as Welsh is pointing out, the shallow leagues, easier to take Ronald Acuna. Why? Because the replacement value on the waiver wire is a lot easier to deal with. So for me, not so much of a challenge, but the patience, that's where the challenges lie when it's waiting for Ronald Acuna to come back and be just awesome. And that's this week's Chasing Challenges. Remember, Microsoft AI solutions empower you to take bold steps and new ideas to help drive your business forward. With Microsoft as your trusted partner, you can navigate your journey with confidence, finding innovative solutions and reaching new possibilities. Visit Microsoft.com/challengers to learn more. All right, let's get this mock draft going again. We have Wyatt Langford, then O'Neal Cruz at 506. Chewy takes James Wood at 507. Here we go. Jacob deGrom, Scott Bogman. What have you done with Scott Bogman? What have you done? Well, they've already said he's going to spend time on the IL, and you're taking Jacob deGrom. I know he's your 2, but come on.
Yes, he's my 2 to Paul Skenes, by the way. And you didn't get to see Rico squirm like I did right when I did pick Jacob deGrom.
You know what, Joe Rico, this is the best thing that could happen to you in this draft is that he takes Jacob deGrom.
I'm on an island with deGrom. I think he's fine. Like, I don't even care if they're going to limit him. Like, if they're going to go 5 or 6 inning starts, let's say he makes 25 starts, that's factoring in like even a month off. That's 150 innings, 25 by 5. I think these potentially
you would value those innings just out of curiosity. I'm going to look and see what. So that's better than taking Michael King.
The last time he pitched, Joe.
I don't know. The last time he pitched was 2019. So that's the last time he pitched. And you know what? Look, it is now 2025. I've had it with all this Jacob deGrom apologist nonsense. It's crazy to me.
It's a 10-man league. He's my second pitcher. That is.
You're telling me that
it's
Michael King, Pablo Lopez, who goes out there and throws 180 innings every year, Imanaga, considering how good he looked on a really good Cubs team, like you'd rather take deGrom obviously than all Framber Valdez, who's steady Eddie every year. All those guys more comfortable than deGrom.
Every pitcher has injury risk, Joe. Every single one.
But deGrom has every single injury risk. He is the worst about this.
But
everybody hurts sometimes.
My number 2. I just want to reiterate that he is my number 2 pitcher, and I will take 120 Jacob deGrom innings over 150 of all of those guys that you just mentioned. So
the only problem is you'll have to get 3 seasons of Jacob deGrom to get to 100.
Maybe it's a risk I'm willing to take in a 10.
I love you, Scott Bogman. I'm just breaking your chops, but it's again. Point counterpoint. You decide in your drafts which you like better. Emmanuel Clase at 509, Devin Williams to Joe Arrico. So your pivot was just to not take a starting pitcher at all. You took a reliever and Kyle Schwarber. Were those spite picks here? Did you just get mad about the deGrom thing or what?
So I wanted Clase and Lawrence Butler, and then when you paused the draft, something got messed up, and it gave me Schwarber instead of Lawrence Butler. But I'll take it.
It's my fault.
I'm blaming it on you. It's your fault. But I'm taking that
show.
And then I took Lawrence Butler also. So sorry.
Honestly, Schwarber. Yeah. So Bogman just has the team that I want here. Schwarber is still going to give me 40 plus homers. Like I didn't really need the power considering the build I have, but now I just can sit back and kind of relax in terms of home runs. I'm tied for first in projected home runs. So I'm pretty fine with that. And then getting a lockdown closer, like there's going to be a run here at some point. I have Williams as my number 2 closer. So I don't mind it pivoting off of deGrom, but I always want deGrom. I want him every time.
Okay. There you go. So Lawrence Butler, Bogman. Now I love Lawrence Butler. So now we're friends again. I think he's got upside for a 30-30 season. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was ever since the All-Star break last year, right? He went into the All-Star break, he hit 3 bombs, and coming out of that, just started mashing. And hopefully that can continue into this season, and he can be an All-Star again. He was absolutely outstanding last year.
Okay, after Butler, Michael King goes to Chewy. Frankie takes Teoscar. Welsh is on the clock with Brent Rooker, so I'll let him take his 7th round pick. Mason Miller at 607. CJ Abrams, 608. Yamamoto at 609. And then I went ahead and took my corners. This is the perfect storm. This is my tier drop-off. There were 2 third basemen I still liked, Caminero and Vientos. And then there was 1 first baseman I still loved. It's Josh Naylor. So I got Naylor and Caminero. This could not be better because I fear the drop off at the corners. I don't like it even at 10-team leagues. This is exactly what I want. I got 2 starters, 2 outfielders, a superstar and Bobby Witt, and I got my corners done there. Framber Valdez goes next at 702, 703, Hader, Imanaga, Welsh, Logan Webb. Very steady pick there. I love the Brent Rooker selection. So you've got some real power here building, which is terrific. Really good offense. And now you've dipped back into the pitching well as Logan Webb is your 2. How do you feel about him as your number 2 and Rooker's power?
I'm okay. Well, Rooker, I'm very happy about. I'm trying to take Rooker everywhere I can. I want to go for massive power. I was thinking about doubling down on more really, really big power, but I pivoted just because I only have Skubal. I like Logan Webb to get a bunch of innings. He's not exactly, I think the biggest upside play, but I also think taking Logan Webb as my number 2, even though it was a tiny bit higher, enables me to take some shots because we're about to enter this pitching. It's not a dead zone. It's this weird pitching zone. It's a twilight pitching zone where there's all these pitchers with like different injuries and potential upsides and stuff like that. And I feel like Logan Webb kind of enables me on that a tiny bit more, but Rooker, I'm very, very happy with.
So one thing Welsh likes, it's a good enabler. That's what he wants. He wants to get enabled there. All right, let's continue on here with the rest of the picks after Welsh's selection of Logan Webb. Marcus Semien at 706. I got to tell you, I thought that was a lock there, Welsh. I'm surprised. Another shocker there.
I took Ketel Marte.
Oh, that's right. You already had Marte. That's right. Who cares? You play him at the middle infield spot. You just be a jerk.
I want to point out Joe Rico is a bad person. He's not a good person. And I don't think he should be on this show anymore because he's purposely trying to hurt me. And I don't think it's great.
No more guests.
No.
Here's one from Watkins here. I have Naylor and Walker. Hope Walker stays healthy with a Rooker on top. Well, that's your private life. So you tell me whatever that's all about. All right, let's go to Bogman's pick, Marcelo Zuna at 708. Very good one there. He's on the clock in the 8th round. George Kirby at 709. And then the aforementioned hated Joe Arrico, Spencer Schwellenbach, and Tyler Glass now. This is how you build upside right here. 3rd starter, Tyler Glasnow. Again, will he get to 150 innings? I don't know, but he does pitch on the Dodgers, so I'm willing to find out. So let's talk about Schwellenbach and Glasnow here. Give me your thoughts on these two picks here, Joe.
Yeah, you scumbag.
I've grown to love Schwellenbach. Welsh is part of the reason why I'm probably doing shows with him all draft season.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. I love Schwellenbach. I think he's a top 20 pitcher this season. And this is the kind of format where you take a chance on a Glasnow when it's a 10-team league, when the replacement value is high. In deeper formats, he's probably your SP2. Maybe even some people have him SP1, but SP3, even if he does miss some time, there's lots of options on the waiver wire in a 10-team league. So give me Glasnow all day.
Giving him Glasnow, boys and girls. All right, so after Glasnow goes, you have Stephen Kwan off the board, who improved his power last year. Saw a whole segment on that. It was very interesting how he did that. Scott Bogman, you got a closer here, Raisel Iglesias. So Ozuna and Iglesias go into Atlanta for 2 picks here, Boggs.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Bear just gives you such a boost, right, with all the power numbers, and the batting average was high last year. So like Ozuna, where I got him there. And then I just, the closers are going to start going, even in a 10-man league. They're going to fly off the board pretty quick here. So I wanted to get one of the elite ones. And I think the Braves are going to win a bunch of games this year. So Iglesias should have a ton of saves.
All right, let's move on here to some of the other picks here. Welsh is a good one here. Love this one. Alex Bregman goes 804, 805, Santander, and then Luis Robert to the Welsh at 806. Robert could be a league winner. I've been talking about this for a while. I know we all have. He's healthy in the beginning of the year. What a great opportunity for him to get moved to somewhere else, and what that could possibly do for his draft stock and obviously his fantasy value here. He's only 1 year removed from a brilliant 30-plus homer, 20-plus homer season.
Yeah, and I need to make sure I'm backing up outfield just a tiny bit more with Acuna. And I got a lot of batting average. I've got Cattell, I've got Acuna, I've got Langford, Rooker, if he can, get into a similar range of where he was last year. Ellie can maybe go either way. So I can boost up a tiny bit of the batting average concerns that might go with Luis Robert. But he fits my build absolutely perfectly. So that's why I jumped on it.
Brian Reynolds, 807 to Shohei. One player takes Helsley, then Brenton Doyle goes to Michael. I took Riley Green at 8010. I love me some Riley Green, man. I think he is on the precipice of really having a different level season. But last year, 137 games, 24 homers, scored 80-plus runs, drove in 74, had 4 steals, 260 batting average. I think there's another level in his game. And then Aaron Nola, steady as it goes, third starter. Love this. Great team, good situation, improved bullpen. Adley Rutschman at 902, then at 903, Willie Adames, Seiya Suzuki at 904. The Welsh goes closer at 905 with Andres Munoz. I almost took him just to see how irritated I could get you, Welsh. But then I decided to just.
Yeah, I know I would have been. I had actually been thinking about him a tiny bit earlier, but yeah, I've said I think Andres Munoz has got the potential to be a top 5 closer this year, especially if that kick changeup starts to play any little extra role into his arsenal. But you got pitchers that are going to put him in the spot. You just need an offense that's going to score some runs. But I love the upside of Andres Munoz, and he was the last of like a tier, unless you feel like really positive about Felix Bautista and he's going to maybe miss some back-to-backs and stuff. But I love Andres Munoz. I'm happy to have got a closer since we are locking closers down with 2 RP spots.
Well, look, Bautista, 110 strikeouts in 2023, just 61 innings. That's a very exciting prospect. Opening day status still uncertain for him, and we'll see how that goes. So do you think that Welsh Bautista is a guy that you will see in April?
Yeah. Oh, I think it already looks like that's going to be the case, but they're not going to let him pitch back-to-backs. He's not going to get every save opportunity. And I kind of think that could continue for a little while. So yeah, no, I think they're going to throw him out in April. But I'm not sure about I don't know if he hits 30 saves this year. So I think he comes at a little bit high of a cost.
Okay, next on the draft board after Welsh's selection of Andres Munoz, Bryce Miller, Tanner Bybee. Bob, when you take Jordan Westburg, as the years gone on here so far in spring, you see Kobe Mayo sent down. That's good for Westburg's value, and coming off a productive season, do you think he can repeat what he did last year in 107 games over a full 150 something?
I hope so, and he is hitting very well in spring. He's not driving in a bunch, but he is hitting 308. So I think that's a pretty strong start, looking good. And I really need a second baseman, and it really starts to fall off here. So wanted to get one, and Westburg was still available to me.
Christian Walker at 909, and then at the turn, another closer to Joe Rico, Yohan Duran. And then we have Bo Bichette here on the bounce back. Another one, too. Just on the the big Instagram account of the Blue Jays, chatting with a buddy of mine over there. He's a big fan of our show, by the way. So Dan, if you're listening, shout out to Dan. And we were talking about this lineup, and I'm very positive about Bo Bichette's bounce back potential. I think last year, just injuries and just never got going. When you got guys playing for money like Vladdy and Bo Bichette, it's a good scenario. And Bo Bichette's in a good spot here to bounce back. Look at this value you're getting year over year, a 10th round pick. I know it's a 10-team league, but still 10th round is huge value for a guy, just a year ago. Very different draft stock.
Yeah, I'm not beating the Homer allegations having Guerrero and Bichette on this team.
Nope, not at all. I'm waiting for you to take Dave Stieb with your next pick.
The thing that I really like early trend in spring is that he's pulling the ball quite a bit more than he has throughout his career. Throughout his career, he's been about 30% in spring. 45% of the time he's pulling the ball. Definitely a good sign for his power. And I don't like to pay for saves on the waiver wire. So I took Juan Duran with the other pick. I have both my reliever spots locked down, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. But yeah, Bo Bichette, I love Bo this year.
One thing I want to throw out, even though this isn't my show real quick, is Fantasy Pros.
It feels like it.
Yeah, well, you can see in the chat, our Fantasy Pros account said, hey, if you don't follow us, make sure to hit that follow button. I want you guys to do it also because our dear producer, Michael Callie, also worked very hard to get live emojis, moving animated emojis when you follow. So if someone is in here who's not following us, follow immediately so we can see the emoji. It will literally make Michael Callie's day. There it is. Look at that. The Chief, you are the winner. Just followed. Shout out to the Chief Knock.io with the animated emoji. Please keep doing it so we can see it. You literally made Michael Callie's day.
You're really good at this. No. Maybe they should make you a host someday. Joe, do you see Julio Rodriguez bouncing back this season? Well, I mean, it was a pretty decent season, just slow start again. And can Royce Lewis ever stay healthy? I'll take that one for you. The answer is no. No, he can't. But Joe Rico, what are your thoughts on Julio this year?
I like Julio a lot. I like him more as like an early second rounder as opposed to a first round pick. But there's so many nice pairings you can make at the end of the first round. He gives you like a 25-25 floor. You can take him with a Vladdy or an Alvarez or anybody at that end of the first round. And I really like the pairings you can get out of him. When he is going in the first round, I think it's a little bit too rich. There's some drafts where he ends up at 8 or 9. I prefer him at 13 to 15, but I think he's still in for a good season.
Okay, let's get another question in here too. This is from the Big Dance. Thoughts of the Braves signing Verdugo? That just went down recently. We're just talking about that, right, Welsh? The Verdugo signing. Profar, Kelenic, Brian De La Cruz, Acuna coming back sooner than later. Outfield getting crowded. Well, Big Dance, I mean, it depends on your idea of crowded because Jared Kelenic is not good at baseball. And I'm tired of constantly hearing how this is the year where it turns around. I am salty. It's Friday. You think I'd be in a good mood? I am miserable for some reason today.
He kind of forgot a key player, Michael Harris. I know, Joe, you won't think about Michael Harris at any point in your life, but Michael Harris,
Profar looked terrific yesterday. Had a great hit. I'm not worried about the wrist at all. I'm not worried about Michael Harris. He's fine. And Acuna will be back. I think this is just depth because I think they realize that Kelenic is no good. Welsh, what do you think?
I don't think Kelenic is any good. I don't think whatsoever that he's that good of a player. Alex Verdugo, they gave him minor. It was actually this weird thing where they gave him like this minor league one option. It's a major league deal, but he can go down to the minors so he can kind of do his spring training. He can come up and he's going to be able to be the fourth outfielder for them long term. Or if Acuna is going to miss some time. I don't think Kelenic is heavy into the consideration. Yeah, he's not that great of a player, unfortunately. And that's why
Verdugo Donnie signed up for Twitch just to be here with us every day.
Nice.
I did Cousin Donnie's show.
Oh, Donnie.
Shooting Straight with Donnie C the other night. If you want to watch some fun stories about our youth, go watch that podcast on YouTube. But yes, I don't need a snack. I actually just ate. So you'd think it was the blood sugar situation. It's not. I've had it with certain players. I'm over the Royce Lewises. I'm over the Jacob deGroms. I'm just over it. And I feel like it's because I've hung out with Scott Bogman so much, right? He's like, stop taking injured guys. And you know what? He's right.
I like guys to play.
Yeah, so that's why I took DeGrom. All right, let's go through here. Where did we leave off? We left off with Bo Bichette. Mark Vientos goes at 10:02. Bogman, you took Luis Castillo at 10:03. I know you're on the clock. We'll come back to you. Cody Bellinger at 10:04. Freddie Peralta at 10:05. Welsh, look at you, you sexy beast. Spencer Strider at 10:06. Then Hunter Green at 10:07. Max Fried at 10:08. Matt McClain at 10:09. I took Batista at 10:10. I'm going to give it a shot here. And he was the highest guy on the board, suggested by Draft Wizard. And I listened. Wizard. Luis Garcia, everybody knows a favorite of mine at second base, so infield done now. It's just about BPA, rest of draft for me. Hunter Brown, Bailey Ober, Joe Ryan, and then back to Welsh, Strider, McClanahan. Ooh-wee, that is some sexy back end starting pitching you're building there. If, of course, they can stay healthy.
Remember what I said earlier. I said taking Logan Webb enables me to get a little wild, be a wild and crazy guy. And that's what I wanted to do, get Strider McClanahan. I want massive, massive upside. And you know what? We're going to go one more round because suck it, Bogman. Zach Gallen for my fifth SP. And I'm building core big innings eaters with some huge upside for maybe the greatest rotation of any 10 team fantasy baseball league ever created.
And not a bad offense. Like, I haven't done it despite offense because you've got the value of Acuna. I mean, to be honest, I don't love going as heavy starting pitching, but this is the sweet spot. You've definitely hit it there. After McClanahan goes Sonny Gray, Xavier Edwards, Bogman, you took Tovar. Let's talk about Castillo and Tovar, your last two picks.
Yeah, I mean, Castillo, I had to back up my Jacob deGrom pick, right? And even a little bit the Paul Skenes pick. So Castillo fell. He came at a great value. I thought that one was very, very good. So loved backing him up there. And then who's the other pick we're talking about here? Sorry.
It was Castillo and
Tovar. Tovar was another guy that just kept falling and falling and falling and falling. In the 11th round, I don't have a starting shortstop. I thought he just represented kind of a tier break in value. So I went ahead and snapped him up.
All right.
There's an interesting question in here, Joe. And whenever you want to, I get to Todd's question whenever you're ready for it, because this is a really good question to tackle as far as a DeGrom versus Strider thing.
Does Acuna have the negative ACL? This one from Todd?
No. He does have negative ACLs. It's the most recent. This one.
At what point would we rank Strider ahead of DeGrom? Now. That's my answer right now.
Have you done it? Now. Have you done that in your ranks?
I did update my ranks yesterday. I want to say that is true. I will double check them right now, but I want to say that is true for me anyway.
So you put Strider over DeGrom?
Why not?
I love it. No, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. Strider might have more innings at the end of the day. It's just DeGrom is healthy.
I was going to say more innings, younger. One's 36. The other is, one's pitching for the Braves. Another strong organization.
Joe, I bet you better hope that Jacob deGrom does not make it to 100 innings. You are never.
Here's the question.
Here's me being concerned about it. Ready? Okay. There you go.
Joe Rico, do you have Roki Sasaki over Jacob deGrom? That's what we need to know. Do you have Roki over Strider?
No, Strider's ahead of Roki.
Good man.
All right, DeGrom I have at 34, and I have Spencer Strider at 30. So yeah,
dang it.
I love it. Like, as if I'm not a Met fan who has constantly watched the saga of Jacob deGrom's inability to get on a mound for more than 2 times at a clip in the last 5 years before he left. I mean, come on, man. Like, I love him. He's great. He is one of the great pitchers to ever grace our presence. But as a fantasy investment, as a number 2 starter, I just can't get there in any league. I get it on the 10 team. You want to throw something against the wall. Again, you can back it up easier because the replacement value is better. So I totally get that. So Xavier Edwards, Tovar to Bogman, Roki Sasaki right before you, Rico. That's got to sting. Justin Steele at 11-10, and then Christopher Sanchez. Steele and Sanchez, 2 Welsh favorites there for you, Joe Rico. So you continue to kind of, drive the knife in a little bit here.
Hurtful.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do at this point. That's the main goal when I hop on a mock draft.
I agree.
Players, just
not that Welsh
Crochet, get Swellenbach, just take all of Welsh's guys. But I love Justin Steele. I did a short video on the channel the other day. Check it out. I'm talking about why he is a great middle round stabilizer in rotations. He's undervalued. He's just super undervalued. And Chris Sanchez, he has been maybe the most impressive pitcher throughout spring training this year. So I love that pairing on the turn. They're not going to come back to me most likely. So lock them down there, and my pitching is nearly complete. My pitching. All right, so after Sanchez, Royce Lewis at 12:02, so Venom really just does not care. Tristan Casas to Bogman. Then we have Sandy Alcantara at 12:04 to Chewy. Nice pick there. Ryan Walker, Zach Gallen to the Welsh. Mason Wynn, Sal Perez, Vinny Pasquantino. Then I took Brian Wu at 12:10, and Randy Rosarena on the bounce back, another guy with 2020 situation there, and hopefully the batting average gets back to the 250, 260 range. I think last year was the anomaly. I think this year we're in a much better spot with Randy Rosarena. Yainer Diaz goes to 13:02, Cal Raleigh, then Dylan Cruz right before Welsh. That's got to hurt. Matt Chapman instead, the consolation prize for you, Welsh, at 13:05.
I messed up though because I 100% should have taken Mike Trout and I didn't queue him up. And I know we could have had rant 2.0 from you about Mike Trout. I 1,000% would have taken him, should have taken him. So I was kicking myself there. But Matt Chapman, I need a third baseman. It's really solid power. I've got stolen bases. I do want to say, coming back though, literally just buried my queue. Just bullets, 3 bullets straight before my next pick of my queue just being demolished by both Bogman and Arico. It was pretty brutal. But Mike Trout, that one's going to haunt me. That was a big mistake of mine because I have him 20-something spots higher. I screwed that up.
There you go. I took a Blue Jay, just so you know, Joe Arico. I want you to know ahead of time, before you start looking for him in the queue. All right. So after Randy Rosarena, Diaz, Raleigh, Cruz, Matt Chapman to Welsh, Mike Trout to Frankie, Luis Arise to Chewy, and then Bogman, you took Ian Happ. Pretty good value there, hitting towards the top of this Cubs lineup yet again.
Yeah, I mean, Ian Happ had been at the top of the suggested board for like 4 rounds.
Yeah.
And you see the percentage going up from like 11%, 22%. 56%. And when I took him, it was at 99%. Like, you can't pass this value up. And I agreed. So I thought that was a good deal for Ian Happ, not a guy I generally take. And Tristan Casas, I just thought was a very good CI to pair with Freddie Freeman. I know Casas missed some time last year and Freddie is old, but I think Casas is nice and healthy this year. So I'm all about taking him at this
Nice point. And healthy. Wilson Contreras goes next. And then at 13-10, Xander Bogaerts, Bryce Terang to Joe Arico. Joe Arico, you're on the clock here, so I'll let you make your pick. Boggs, coming back to you after Spencer Steer goes at 14:02. Tanner Scott off the board for you. So the alleged closer of the Dodgers, that's a pretty good opportunity to have.
Yeah, and I don't think you have to say alleged. He got the first save, so I think he's their closer. So I think we're all good there. And you definitely, you're too busy hosting. You missed the exasperated look on the Welsh's face when I took Tanner Scott. He was very unhappy.
That was 100% where I was going with that pick. That one hurt. And I had to pivot to Robert Suarez, who I'm not that big on, but last of the closers.
Last of the closers. There you go. All right. After you have Tanner Scott, Joe, let's go back to your picks here. Bogaerts and Bryce Terang at the turn. So filling in that middle infield right now.
Yeah, Bogaerts is a steady categories player. He's going to give you 15, 17 homers, double-digit steals, decent batting average, good lineup. Bryce Terang, I don't usually take Bryce Terang. I don't particularly like him very much, but he fit the build. I needed speed. I took too many power bats. I needed to kind of compensate for that. And the projected stolen bases, I went from 10th to 5th with just that one pick. So I did compensate for some of the early power with Bryce Terang.
What do you
don't feel the need to overcompensate, Joe.
Yeah.
You're plenty. You're enough. I want you to know you're enough. Christian Yelich at 14:04, then Jake Berger 14:05. The Welsh took Robert Suarez at 14:06, then Alec Boehm, Jack Flaherty, Will Smith. I took Jeff Hoffman and Kodai Senga at my turn. And then at the beginning of the 15th round after Senga, Adolis Garcia, Carlos Rodon, Jeremy Pena. Hoping he would make it back to me. He did not. Welsh takes Pete Crow Armstrong at 15:05. I know you're on the clock, Welsh. Let's talk. You just made your pick, so let's talk about Suarez and Pete Crow Armstrong.
Suarez again was a pivot. I'm not the biggest Robert Suarez fan. I think the job could be a little bit in question. I wanted Tanner Scott, but I wanted to get one more of those closers, and he was kind of a teardrop off. Pete Crow again with the outfield, like I kind of screwed up with the Trout side. I just like the idea of high batting average, big stolen bases with Pete Crow. He's a 4th outfielder here. If we were playing on Yahoo, Burton Rooker would qualify at outfield, so he'd be like a 5. I just think there's just a lot of value put together. And then just my last pick, Kevin Gossman, just getting another pitcher for innings. I'm balancing these crazy high upside guys with maybe some little risky injuries with just big innings eaters. And that's what I did with Gossman just now.
Anthony Volpe at 15:06, then Jason Dominguez at 15:07, Brandon Pfaadt to Scott Bogman, loving the Pfaadt, Josh Lowe at 15:09, Joe Arico takes Lloyd Mosby and Kelly Gruber, then it comes back around to Reynaldo Lopez and Andres Jimenez. No, Joe Arico took Lourdes Gurriel and Jurickson Profar. So let's talk about Gurriel and Profar here. Again, it looked healthy to me yesterday, so I'm back in, Joe.
Oh, you're killing me. That was fantastic.
I'm just happy you're I thought you'd be too young for the Kelly Gruber reference, but
no, I'm a Toronto historian here. I'm a Blue
Okay, you're a historian. There you go.
But I needed a couple outfielders. Gurriel, you got the Toronto, Arizona connection. He's just very solid. Like, he's just a steady Eddie kind of guy, good batting average, decent power, great lineup. And same thing with Profar. I mean, I'm not as optimistic as I am with Gurriel because I don't know if it's a little bit one-year wonder stuff with Profar, but I trust him at the top of that Braves lineup. Maybe the wrist complicates things a little bit, but like you said earlier, he was back yesterday. He had a good game, so I'm not as worried about that as I would have been. Although I do wonder with the Verdugo signing, to touch back on that, like, do you think that part of the signing of Verdugo is that they're a little bit worried about the health of Profar?
It could be Acuna, to be frank, but
Or
yeah,
Acuna,
maybe.
Yeah.
I think depth. I think with Acuna's
I think
injuries,
it's
you
more
have
of
to
an
have
indictment
depth.
on Kelenic. I can't get past that. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that that indictment then is built around having depth for a team that has traditionally had like injuries in the outfield, and that Jared Kelenic, after they got Brian De La Cruz, is just not enough. So yeah, I guess you could circle it back around to be like, yeah, it's something about Kelenic.
It's one of my favorite Disney movies, Injuries in the Outfield. Love that one. This is from The Geek. Missed out on Cam Smith, like any of these options at second base and outfield, biggest need. Horvitz, Kerstad, Rice, Drury, Manzardo. I have utility field with Rooker. Manzardo is the most intriguing of any of these bats to me. Joe Rico, what are your thoughts here?
Manzardo, I would probably go with Manzardo. I don't know if he's going to get first base eligibility, which I've been kind of hoping for, but I don't know that it's going to necessarily happen. But I do really like Manzardo. I think in September he seemed to figure things out, went through some personal stuff the year before that I think kind of hampered his performance. So I don't think I'm alone there, Joe. I think you're also a pretty big Manzardo guy, right?
I am. The man-child, I think, is finally ready. Yeah, so there you go. Welsh, you're in on Manzardo too, right?
Well, I interviewed him, and I've spent time with him in 2 different occasions. We're very good friends, as a matter of fact.
Very good friends.
Details about his life, but yeah, no, but I'm not really into him.
They spent a lot of time at the Phoenix Chili's together. It was really fun. All right, let's get to more of the draft picks. I'm on the clock, so Welsh, why don't you take some of these other picks that are going on?
Where did we leave off? We
left off at Joe Rico at pick. See, if you were a host, you'd know. Jerickson Profar is where we left off with a Rico.
Oh my God, we're so far. Okay, so Jerickson Profar, Reynaldo Lopez, Andres Jimenez. We had Robbie Ray, Trevor McGill, not Tyler McGill, and then it just moved up on me. Kevin Gossman, I took Seth Lugo, Castellanos, Shaylene Galliers, Joe Pisapia. You took Ryan Pepio and Isak Paredes. Would you like to break down why you love Ryan Pepio so much and you take him in every single draft?
Well, 3-to-1 strikeout walk ratio. That makes me feel pretty good. I like that one. I like when smart people like Saris have good things to say about a young pitcher, and I think he's locked into this rotation. 5-man, 6-man, I don't care. I want Pepio this year. He's going to help me with my ratios, and I think he's going to get double-digit wins. So to me, that's a pretty good value. And right now, he is my was he my last starter? Yes, he was my second to last starter because I ended up taking Evaldi too to kind of make that rotation. So all I got left is the util as well. But thanks there. And Isak Paredes, look, man, Paredes, steady corner guy. Astros, I expect more power this year. Colton Cowser goes next, then Eugenio Suarez, Lane Thomas. The Welsh took Paul Goldschmidt. If you can't have a current Diamondback, then damn it, you got to get an old one. Zach Eflin. What's that? That's what you always
I've always said. That's what it's actually my motto. I have it tattooed. Hey, look at that. Shout out to Frozen animated emoji for the follow. Appreciate it, brother.
There you go. Zach Eflin at 1706, Michael Tolley at 1707, Taylor Ward to Scott Bogman, then Kerry Carpenter, Yandy Diaz to Joe Rico. And then the catcher breakdown, Austin Wells, another one of Welsh's favorites. So Welsh out of the catcher market here on Austin Wells, unfortunately. Joe Rico strikes again.
Yeah, well, I got JT Realmuto. So Austin Wells went before JT Realmuto, which is a little surprising. So I just snapped him up actually with just a pick. But I do love that Austin Wells.
See, I'm concerned about Realmuto's age and drop off. I feel like there's been a lot of decline to Realmuto. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's been so much decline in skill. It's just been the playing time has gone down
age.
And they've talked about, it gets everybody. And they've talked about resting him a little bit more. So yeah, it not my favorite pick, but
I got him around 200. That's the only thing there. Evolution, shout out Evolution. But I got him at like 180s. That's the latest I've ever gotten him, and it was between like him and Gabriel Moreno. So
it's probably a tier break. Yeah, I think you got inside that tier, and the rest of these catchers are kind of the same at this point. So I will be waiting till the last round for my catcher.
Okay, Austin Wells, then Urseg. Kikuchi to Scott Bogman. So Taylor Ward and Yusei Kikuchi. And look, to Kikuchi coming off a fantastic, season, 206 strikeouts, career high for him. The ERA was above 4. Obviously, the move to the Angels isn't ideal, but you know what? I look at the Angels lineup and I think if they stay healthy, they actually could be better than people realize with Neto and Rengifo and who knows, whatever we get from Mike Trout. I think this is actually a sneaky good late pitching selection of Kikuchi.
Yeah, we're not going to call them good, right? But
no. Competitive. They could be competitive.
Sure, exactly. And I do have risk in Jacob deGrom. That's so getting some innings guys like Castillo, Kikuchi, and Brandon Pfaadt, I think, is a good strategy after taking that risk a little bit early. But I'm really liking the way my pitching staff is shaping up.
It's a good looking pitching staff. We're going to review the rosters in just a second here because we're almost home, if you can believe it already. So after Kikuchi, Jordan Romano, Frankie takes Logan Ohapi, Chris Welsh takes Gavin Williams. Ooh, you savvy man, you. Bednar goes, then Brandon Nimmo at 1808. Dansby Swanson, then I took Jackson Holiday as my middle infield guy. Nate Eovaldi.
Oh. It's your cousin.
Nathan Eovaldi as my last pitcher here. Bryson Stott, then Jared Jones finally off the board, followed by Grayson Rodriguez. So there you go. It's the time you just throw in darts, see what happens here. Real Muto, as Welsh said, goes to him. Then Spencer Arrighetti, Jung-Hoo Lee to Chewbacca. Boggs takes Nick Pivetta at 1908.
I got super sniped on that Jung-Hoo Lee pick, by the way.
Yeah.
Are you not worried about the Jung-Hoo Lee back situation?
No. He's already been cleared. MRI was fine. He'll be okay.
Okay. Pivetta looked sharp yesterday, too. I was watching some of that start last night. Tommy Edman at 1909, leading the league in home runs. Tommy Edman, just want to point that out. Jesus Luzardo at 1910 to Joe Rico and Jonathan India. Rico, look, last couple picks here for you. Luzardo, India, then Rasmussen, Matt Shaw here in the 22nd round. Luzardo and Shaw, like those are two picks that could end up winning you a league. And if they don't work out, it's easy enough to cut them and move on.
I like a lot of these picks, but honestly, my favorite pick might be Drew Rasmussen in the bunch. I've been looking into him a lot recently. I don't really care if he starts in the rotation because I think he'll get there at some point eventually. And I think there's also a chance that he ends up closing games in Tampa this year. Considering his stuff, considering the worries about injuries, considering Pete Fairbanks is always hurt, like I think one way or another, Drew Rasmussen is going to return a serious profit on this pick.
Okay, next up here let's run through these picks because we're almost home. After India, Shane Boz, and then Bogman took Tyler O'Neill, Tyler Stevenson, Zach Neto, Robles to Welsh. Shomei takes Brandon Woodruff. Love that pick there. Nico Horner at 2008. Then Pete Fairbanks goes. I took Nathaniel Lowe and Helio Ramos. High on those guys. Young, Arenado, Springs, Christian Encarnacion, Strand. Then we have Taj Bradley, Mackenzie Gore, Tanner Houck, Shaw Manaea, Drew Rasmussen, as before pointed out, Matt Shaw, Clark Schmidt, Gabriel Moreno, 2204, Clay Holmes, Lodolo, Gleyber Torres to Welsh, Blade, Blanco, Jansen, and I take Mr. Irrelevant, Ivan Herrera, as my catcher. I'll settle for that every day. A C+. Boo! Boo, yeah. Draft Wizard. I love this team. Joe Rico, what's your grade?
85 out of 100. B. Solid B.
Solid B. Scott Bogman, you must have gotten a good grade because you're number 2. I said A-?
92. Yeah, A-.
Look at you. And where's the Welsh? Oh, Welsh is below me. Welsh, what did you get for a grade?
I got a 76. It somehow hated my hitting. Ronald Acuna, Ellie De La Cruz, Ketel Marte. I'm projected the worst hitter somehow, but number 2 in pitching. I believe top 3 in wins ERA, number 1 in stolen bases. I believe I was top 5 in all the pitching categories, yet I got a pretty crappy score, Joey.
Yeah, I'm looking. Mike Mayer hates my draft, so what else is new? The summary, though, I want to shout out to Michael Cerna from our Discord. 100. That's right. An A+ for Michael. Congratulations. You're the best of the best. But the best of us, according to Draft Wizard, was Scott Bogman. So Bogman, who liked your draft? Who hated it? And what were some of the insights from Draft Wizard on the post-draft analysis you want to take away?
Yeah, so the insights here were top players ranked in top 3 were Skenes, Freeman, and Rafael Devers. What if I had taken Gunnar Henderson, which happened to me last night as well? My steal of the draft was Tyler O'Neill. My reach was Brandon Pfaadt, and I was categorically good. Top 3 in saves and whips, doubles, triples, all that good stuff as well. And then the experts that like me, Mike McGregor, Kev Mashershan, Frank Emirante, Brad Kamara, and Scott Bogman, the number 3. I liked my Luis Castillo, Tanner Scott, and Brandon Pfadt picks. Thumbs down from, of course, Joe P. Excuse me.
That's right. Don't you dare give my thumb to him.
You
That's
have hated my team every time I drafted.
Well, I'll keep taking DeGrom where you are, and that's probably what's going to happen.
Last time, Brandon Beaton Myers did not like my team. Chase Davis, Greg Smith, and my boy Jesse Severe. Come on, Jesse. Didn't like Freddie Freeman, Jacob DeGrom, or Raisel Iglesias.
All right, let's look at the Scott Bogman squad here and just kind of recap it for you. And as you can see here on the YouTube channel, you can see all the breakdown, all the analysis. It's such an incredible tool, and you can use it for salary cap leagues too. It doesn't matter, whatever league you're in, it will sync up. It will work. If you're in ESPN, CBS, Yahoo, it doesn't matter. All the places, Fantrax, it's all there. Scott Bogman at catcher. Actually, no, Gabriel Moreno at catcher. Freddie Freeman, Jordan Westberg, Tovar, Rafael Devers, Casas, Jimenez, and then the outfield, Carroll, Marcelo Zuna, Butler, Ian Happ, Taylor Ward, Tyler O'Neill. I mean, that's a pretty good offense. For a 10-team league, I don't know if it's an elite level offense, but then you look at the pitching, Paul Skenes, Luis Castillo, Jacob DeGrom. You don't even list them second. I won't even do it. Kikuchi, Brandon Pfadt, Nick Pivetta, Tanner Houck, and then Raisel Iglesias and Tanner Scott. So if you like Bogman's draft the most, vote for Scott Bogman here in the comments below on YouTube or here on Twitch. Joe Arico, Austin Wells, Vlad Guerrero, Xander Bogaerts, Bo Bichette, Manny Machado, Yandy Diaz, Bryce Terang. Outfield, Tatis Jr., Schwarber, Profar, Gurriel, and then India and Shaw. The pitching staff here, Logan Gilbert, Tyler Glasnow, Schwellenbach, Justin Steele, Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, and then relievers Duran, Williams, and Rasmussen there. So, Joe, how do you feel about this roster?
I feel pretty damn good about it. I think this is one of the best mocks I've had. The last one we did was a 12-teamer, and I was also at the turn, and I hated it. But with the 10-team league, oh, man, I got my home league coming up. I got my home league on Sunday. It's a 10-team head-to-head categories exactly like this. I hope I get the turn.
Nothing builds your confidence more than drafting a 10-team. I used to be very anti-10-team because, you know what? I think everybody should play in a 10-team, and you should mock some you can do the opposite. If you're in a 10-team, you can mock a 12, and then you'll just feel really great about a 10. I think 10 really helps boost the confidence of where your picks are.
Well, here's one from Todd. How would you rank Arrighetti, Lodolo, Luzardo, and Job? What's that ranking there?
I would rank it for assuming this is redraft. I would probably go Luzardo, Lodolo, Job, Arrighetti. That'd be okay.
There you have it. All right, let's get to Welsh's team and do the breakdown here. The Welsh, JT Realmuto at catcher, Paul Goldschmidt at first base. 2 old farts. There you go. That's a good way to start. Ketel Marte, Ellie De La Cruz, all-world Ellie. Got a big day yesterday. Matt Chapman, Encarnacion Strand, Gleyber Torres, then Ronald Acuna, Wyatt Langford, Brent Rooker, Luis Robert, Pico Armstrong, and Robles. What an outfit.
Worst offense, my ass. Give me a break.
Yeah, like I can't roll with that. Look, Encarnacion Strand, I get like the projections are going to hurt him. Goldschmidt, Realmuto. I get that, but when you get that outfield, I think it makes up for any ground.
Everything.
Tariq Skubal, Logan Webb, Zach Gallen, Spencer Strider, McClanahan, Gossman, Williams. This is like the best pitching staff ever. Munoz,
greatest pitching staff in history with closers and a good outfield offense. Give me a break.
Yeah. What would you give this draft?
I would give this 135 out of 100.
Bobby, what would you give your draft grade? Honest draft.
136 out of 100.
Thank you very much.
What's yours? Be honest, Joe, unlike these two morons.
Honestly, I would say the score is pretty reflective of how I feel. It's like an 85. When I got an 85 on a test as a kid, by the way, it was an A, not a B. So I'm going to call it an A. But
is that the Canadian conversion? Is that what happens there?
Yeah. Are you converting? I got a 76, Joe. So you
guys got 85s on your test in school, though. That wasn't a B, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
89 is a B, bro.
80. Yeah. Once you drop below 90, it's a B. I don't know what that conversion rate of Canada grading is.
Here we got 80, 80 to
like
85
Fahrenheit.
Is this the metric grading system? This is the metric grading system.
How was 85?
It's a B plus, Rico. Real quick, Frank Amarant loved mine the most. I was number 3. Dalton Del Don and Scott Bogman all loved me. Chase Davis, Blake Meyer both hated me. Pierre Camus just always hates me. Chris Towers, and of course, Joe Pisapia.
Well, I mean, let's be consistent. All right, here's my team, which I give this a B- at least. I think it's a pretty good squad. Ivan Herrera at catcher, Josh Naylor first, Garcia at second, Bobby Wood Jr. at short, Junior Caminero at third, Paredes at corner, Jackson Holiday at middle infield. Then I've got Jaron Duran, Jackson Merrill, Riley Green, Randy Rosarena, and Helio Ramos, Nathaniel Lowe in the other util spot. Then Cole Reagans, Blake Snell, Aaron Nola. Boy, oh boy, look at them lefties over there. Brian Wu, Kodai Senga, Ryan Pepio, Eovaldi, Batista, and Hoffman. That's a pretty good team. That is not a C+ team. I'm sorry. Draft Wizard and I are going to have words after the show. But whose draft did you like the best here? Was it mine? Was it Welsh's? Was it Scott Bogman's? Was it Joe Arrico? Or was it one of the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks? And again, shout out, thank you to all the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks for joining us. And don't forget, leading off live next week starts here on Twitch, twitch.tv/fantasypros. So if you haven't already, download the app, go to the Fantasy Pros one on Twitch, find us, join us every day at noon. We'll still be on YouTube. Fear not. Don't worry. But that'll be video on demand. So if you want to join live, get questions answered, that's how to do it. But we are adding a Wednesday 4 p.m. live stream every week as well, just to take your questions. No show. It's all about you. We did it yesterday. It was so much fun. Actually, 2 days ago, right? Because today's Friday. I'm losing my days. Yeah. It was so much fun. Join us there. Put it in your calendars. Join us. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Comment below. And of course, we're trying to get to 25,000 subscribers. Help us do that. That'll do it for us here. But the story of the game goes on for the Welsh, our special guest, Joe Arrico and Scott Bogman. I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Happy drafting. C+. What kind of nonsense is that? We're gonna have to have
you get an 89 and the teacher's gonna give you a B for that. That's ridiculous.
That's
called a B+. It's called a B+.
I don't understand that. That math isn't mathing, Joe.
86 and above in Canada, that's an A, baby.
Exchange rate is all wrong.
Yeah. I know I should have lived in Canada.